Why does looking at the ocean calm us? And how does listening to a song bring us to tears or give us chills? Here's a fun fact. Your brain responds to beauty the same way that it responds to food, love, and even addictive substances. Beauty may actually be essential for life. Today we're diving into the science of why your brain is wired for beauty and how it can change your brain. So the whole reason I'm doing this video is because I just came across this term called neuroaesthetics. And I was like, excuse me? The study of beauty in the brain? I have to read more about this. And I have to make a video about this. So basically, neuroaesthetics is the scientific study of how the brain perceives, processes, and responds to beauty, art, and aesthetic experiences. It explores the neural mechanisms behind why we find things visually, emotionally, or physically attractive or pleasing, and how these experiences can affect our emotions, cognitions, and even physical health. If you want to learn more about the arts in your brain, check out the book, Your Brain on Art, How the Arts Transform Us, linked in the description. Neuroaesthetics is actually a pretty new field of study. It really started gaining traction in the early 2000s. One of the pioneers is Samir Zaki, I hope I'm saying that right, a neuroscientist who started using brain imaging to figure out what happens in the brain when we experience beauty. Another key voice in this field is Anjan Chatterjee, who helped shape the idea that aesthetic experiences aren't just nice, they're part of our biology. Our brains want beauty and they're wired to seek it. So why does all this matter, and what is the research saying? Well, research shows that when we experience something beautiful, whether it's music, a painting, or a perfect moment in nature, our brain's reward system lights up and becomes highly active. It also has measurable effects on the body. Studies have shown that looking at something beautiful can lower cortisol levels, slow heart rate, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So basically, looking at something aesthetically pleasing can take us out of fight or flight mode. There's also emerging research suggesting that people who engage in beauty, like through museums or music or time in nature, have better long-term health outcomes, including lower mortality rates. What? Beautiful things can help us live longer? You guys, this is crazy. So basically, beauty can play a critical role in our biology, our stress responses, our emotional regulation, and maybe even survival. It makes me think about how much our environment can impact us. Think about when you come home to a really messy, disorganized space. I feel stressed. I feel overwhelmed. It's hard to relax. At the least, I think we feel a little bit uncomfortable. This just made me think about when I moved in with some roommates in 2020, right before COVID happened. We never got around to decorating the house. We literally call it the depression house because it was depressing. There were no windows. It was empty. Not fun times. So now that we all know that beauty does have this powerful impact on us, let's talk about why and how this is happening, what's underneath all of this, and what's happening in the brain. When you experience something beautiful, that actually starts a pretty cool chain reaction in our brain. The first stop is our sensory areas. Our brain processes the raw information, what you're seeing, hearing, or feeling. Next, it activates the emotional and reward systems. So the orbifrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain that evaluates reward and pleasure, is activated. So it's like your brain saying, hey, this feels nice. We should pay attention to this. It also taps into the amygdala, which helps you emotionally tag the experience. Finally, the default mode network is activated. This is the part of our brain that is linked to introspection, daydreaming, and self-reflection. It kicks on when beauty makes us pause and feel something deeper. It's kind of like that reflective, almost transcendent feeling vibe you get when you're watching a sunset or you're sitting at the ocean and it's quiet. Also, let's talk about those chills you get when you listen to music. That's actually your brain flooding your system with dopamine, the feel-good chemical. And researchers have literally seen this happen in brain scans. That's pretty neat. Something else interesting is that people across cultures tend to find similar things beautiful. So things like symmetry, rhythm, and balance, which suggests that we might be universally tuned to seek out certain patterns. Let's talk a little bit about why we might need beauty. When you think about it, most of our deepest moments, falling in love, watching a sunset, hearing that one song that says exactly what you're feeling, they're all wrapped in beauty. Psychologists believe that these experiences help us feel more connected to something bigger than us. They anchor us to the things that make life feel rich. Beauty can also be a social experience. When we share art or music or when we're in nature with others, we're building connection. And connection is also very important to our well-being and survival, which is a whole other topic for another day. There's research showing that synchronized experiences like being in a concert together or watching a sunset with friends can actually strengthen group bonds and trust. Beauty brings people together in ways that words can't always do. And as we talked about earlier, beauty can actually regulate our nervous system. Even something simple like listening to a song or stepping outside for a moment can actually lower our cortisol levels and pull us out of some stress that we're feeling. And maybe one of the other reasons that we need beauty or that it impacts us so much is because it pulls us out of the grind. It interrupts us and it cuts through our autopilot. Our brains do love routine, but I think beauty makes us stop and pay attention and be more mindful of the present. It's almost like beauty reminds us of what really matters. Last, I think it's important to talk about how we can use all of this amazing knowledge to improve our own lives. So I'm gonna challenge you to try a few of these things today. You don't have to do something grand and crazy like travel to Paris to experience beauty, because neuroaesthetics isn't just about the big moments, it's about the small moments we experience throughout the day. So some examples: the warmth of your coffee mug and the taste of your breakfast, jamming out to music while you're driving, hearing the wind in the trees and the birds when you step outside. Our brains are constantly scanning for beauty, even in the smallest details. And when we start intentionally noticing these moments, it can build our sense of calm, our sense of joy, and our sense of mindfulness and appreciation. So if you're feeling disconnected or stressed or numb, try this 30-second exercise. Look around you and notice one thing that's beautiful right now. It could be the way the sunlight's falling on your desk or the taste of a favorite snack. This is how you bring beauty into your everyday life, and train your brain even to notice those beautiful moments so that you can experience more of that joy. Let me know in the comments below what's something beautiful you've experienced recently. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. I post videos on expressive arts therapy, music therapy on Fridays, so I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.